Hello YouTube, my name is Josh and I want to welcome you to our channel. In this video, we're going to cover LiquidSky. So we tested them a few months ago and the impression that we walked away with was that they were fine, but they were a little bit underpowered for the amount of money that they charged every month. So they could have been better and we would have liked to have seen a little bit more power. So how has that changed today? What are they like today? That's what this video is all about. So we're going to revisit LiquidSky. We're going to test both the pro server and the gamer server on a couple of different games, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what we thought and how it felt and give you our impressions. That's all coming up next.
Only I can save you.
Alright, so overall, it was a bit of a mixed bag. So when we tested Battlefront 2, it worked really well on both the pro and the gamer server. So it looked great, it felt great, the latency was low, pretty good all around. It was a little bit different when we switched over to No Man's Sky. So on the gamer server, it really didn't run at all, which is a little disappointing, but isn't super surprising because the gamer server doesn't meet the minimum requirements for the game. So we kind of hoped that would work anyway, but it's not shocking that it didn't. Now when you switch over to the pro server, it does meet those minimum requirements, and it still didn't run quite as well as we wanted it to. So we had to lower most of the settings down to medium levels, and we still didn't achieve the frame rates that we really wanted to see at that level. So it was a little disappointing. At the same time, we do acknowledge that No Man's Sky is not the best optimized game out there, so take it with a grain of salt. Overall, as we tested different games over the last week or so, that was kind of the takeaway. On some games, it ran really well, and you can tell that the developer and LiquidSky have optimized for that experience. And then in other games, you felt like something was just a little bit off. So maybe you couldn't run the graphics at quite the level that you expected to per the specs of the machine. And that was just kind of how it was. It was a little bit hit and miss. Now, recently the developers opened up a little bit about how LiquidSky is operating and where they're at today. And they did explain that they're working with different companies and they're still optimizing the servers to be as compatible as possible with more games. So there should be more optimizations coming. Keep in mind, LiquidSky is still in beta and it's going to improve, but there is a lot of testing that goes into it along the way. So just keep that in mind as you consider what to do and whether this is right for you. Now on the positive side, The network was quite a bit better this go around. So the first time that we tested LiquidSky, there was a lot of disconnections, and there was a decent amount of artifacting as we played games. We really didn't run into that during this test session. So the network seemed really solid, and that has definitely improved compared to last time. On top of that, something that makes LiquidSky kind of unique is that they're one of the only companies that's available in faraway countries like Asia and in India and places like that. So if you're looking for something that you can play in those regions, LiquidSky is the absolute cheapest way that you can go. So it's great that they are reaching out in places that other companies just aren't touching yet. So that's something to keep in mind. It is one of the better options in those areas. And overall, that's kind of our impression. So they haven't done a whole lot to the servers. They haven't really changed the hardware, although that is planned. So they do plan to upgrade the GPUs before the end of the year. So there should be a bump that comes along with that. But for now, they're continuing to optimize what they have. And they don't feel like they've reached the end of what these machines are capable of. So there is more room for improvement, and they're working on that as we speak. And then in the future, the next thing that's coming is a native HTML5 version of LiquidSky that runs right in the browser. And they recently showed that off during an AMA video on Twitch. So that's encouraging. There is more coming. But their focus is on trying to get the computer experience and the mobile Android experience as good as they can get before they take on other projects. So they're trying to be very careful about using their resources well and not getting spread too thin. And that's a great approach. That's wise. So overall, you'll have to decide for yourself how you feel about LiquidSky today, but I know a lot of you are fans, and I think you'll be happy to know that we had a pretty good experience. So that's really it for this part of the video. So we've covered the computer in this video. Now, if you want to see more, specifically the Android side of LiquidSky, consider supporting us through Patreon. We've released an exclusive Android review just for our Patreons, and it's available now on our Patreon page. So if you head over there, every single member or every single level of Patreon membership gets access to that Android review, and we dig into that and see how that performs compared to where it was a few months ago. And I know a lot of you love Android and you want to have that mobile experience, so find out if this is a good option. Head over there, consider supporting us, and we really appreciate every single person that does. And until next time, my name is Josh, and you guys have a good one.